I know people are going to be complaining that I'm even talking about this, saying, well, that's not that big of a deal. Why is that? Well, a lot of my videos, you got to think of like the end of 60 Minutes back in the day. Remember Andy Rooney would come on, the old guy would come on and complain about stuff? Well, that's me. So get this. Sometimes I like to talk about some of these things. One note from yesterday, I said that it looked like that Samsung was going to keep the 10x optical zoom. I've read some other leaks and rumors and stuff like that. And it looks like they are going to go to a 5x, but the advertising stuff was like, well, it's going to be an enhanced 10x somehow. So I don't know how they're going to swing that. I guess that was a marketing thing because it couldn't look like they went from a 10x optical zoom on S23 Ultra and went down to a 5x. People would just think it's a downgrade, even though I think on the whole, you're going to get better images from that 5x optical zoom. So that was the kind of confusion there on my part. So it does look like you're going to go with a 5x, which I do like, but that's not the topic of today's video. And I should also point out that Samsung's not exclusive here. Samsung's certainly not the first ones to even do this. Google is just as much to blame as Samsung bringing this kind of AI photography into the mix, especially with Best Take. And I'm not talking about Magic Editor and stuff like that, because Magic Editor is cleaning up and taking away stuff that's already in the photo. So if you have a photo and it's got a bunch of gunk in the background or whatever you're looking to get rid of on a particular image, Magic Editor and Magic Eraser and all that stuff will take that out of the image, but it'll leave just kind of the best version of what was already there. Best Take, some of the other things, and what I'm hearing or seeing rather about the S24 Ultra with Galaxy AI and Samsung's computational model, kind of with this AI enhancement we saw with the moonshot stuff, is that we're starting to add stuff now. And that's it. At what point is it not your photo anymore? At what point is it not even a photo anymore? At what point is it no different from me putting raw files into ChatGPT and saying, come up with an environment where so-and-so is here and so-and-so is here and I can see, this bridge in the background. That really starts to concern me a little bit because we get out of the realm of photography in that sense and we just go into this make-believe computer world. And I don't know, the thing that I saw that really worried me the most was, I think it was a teaser video for the S24 Ultra or something like that, where they had, I think it was the Space Zoom or whatever Zoom, might even be for the Google phone, but there was no shot of seeing the Golden Gate Bridge. No shot. It was way off in the distance. They zoomed all the way in and it was all blurry and fuzzy and it was just a mess. And then AI went to work and sure enough, it composited a whole thing and you looked like you were 10 feet away from the bridge. That's not a photo at that point. And the same thing when you with the moon photo, and people are like, well, why are people concerned about the moon photo? I wasn't concerned about the moon photo in terms of it being, Samsung ripping us off or misleading us or thinking that the zoom could do more than it could. I wasn't bothered by that. I'm bothered by the direction that the photography on these devices is taking. I just think that right now, if you want to, some people said they used 100x space zoom. If you do, good for you. I go to 10x, I get the periscope, I zoom all the way into 100, and yes, I do love the little finder that it has here. That makes it easy. I like seeing the actual, as we get out of it, I like seeing the preview of the image as it gets out to here to stabilize and see kind of some sort of context of what I'm looking at. That's great. When you take the image, it looks awful. Samsung computational stuff goes to work and it looks a little less awful. This was one I took of some trees out my window, and you could see, this is not something that I'm going to use for anything. I mean, if you want to see a far off sign, maybe once in a while, it works, but I did that here. Let's see if I could go ahead and actually go to that photo. Yeah, I did that here at 100x. I mean, yeah, okay, maybe you could read a street sign 20 miles away. That might be worth it to you, and that's fine, and it's harmless. But now we're getting into the portion where Galaxy AI is going to go to work and say, this wasn't here. This is what I think should be here, or what I'm picking up from a composite of 1,000 images on the internet that I know is there, and I'm going to implant that into your photo. So my question, I guess, to everyone watching is, A, do you even care about those? B, is that something that you're going to look at and you're going to be like, wow, look at this great photo I took of such and such monument from 2 miles away? Or is it just going to be no different from a computer-generated image that you go find on Google search? I just don't want to take the authenticity that we could have in these cameras away, because we've gotten to the point where these are really good. You don't, for the most part, some people still carry around DSLRs, but you don't need to carry that in your pocket anymore. When you're out on vacation, you don't need to have this big bulky thing around your neck anymore. You don't feel like you're missing these magical moments with your kids and your pets and wherever else you are anymore, because these photo systems and camera systems have gotten just that good. So to now go back on that, and yes, they're still going to be good. Yes, they're still going to take great images. I'm sure you're going to be able to turn off a lot of the AI stuff. But now we're going to be passing stuff off and coming up with stuff that really wasn't quite there and isn't quite right. Aside from that, I don't really have a problem with a lot of the other stuff with computational photography. White balance, removing grain, removing some other stuff, shadows and stuff like that. I have no issue with that, because that's a technology in aid of something. That's technology helping us wash away and get to the core image of the reality that was already there. So I think for me, that's the line. If you're taking stuff away, if you're enhancing what was there, if you're just using the raw data and doing the best you can with the computer to keep the raw data, I have no problem with it. If you start adding stuff in from composites and this and that and the computer thinking that this should be here, that's where I kind of draw the line. And it started as a slippery slope, because computational photography and zoom enhance and stuff like that started out where it would kind of extrapolate what it thinks the pixels near it would need to be a sharper image. So it would take the pixels, the data and the color it'd get from whatever pixel around, it would use kind of the context of what's around it and add in color or add in detail to those pixels. So I was fine with that, because right, it's just kind of what's there. It's scrubbing the light data that came in. Now it's a different story. Now we're taking and we're just building up images from scratch using very rough, blurry images. But otherwise, I'm going to be impressed with the S24 Ultra. I am, like I said, happy that they went to the 5X. The 10X is fine. I just feel like even though it's optical, and even though there's the zoom and all the rest of it, I just feel like, even if I keep it steady, I just feel like the 10X images just come out a little soft for my liking, to where I just didn't use it a whole lot. I didn't use it nearly as much as I use 5X on other machines, on other devices. So I'm looking forward to what Samsung could do with the 5X. If they could still give me like a comparable image on the 10X, I'm fine with that. But let me know what your preference and breakdown is below. If you are somebody who uses a Pixel device, you use 5X, or if you, and that's kind of the sweet spot for you, or if you're somebody who goes out to 10X a lot. I just never felt like there was a lot that far away that I needed to see that would cause an issue where I'd need that periscope zoom all the way out to 10X. I kept feeling like, especially nature, wildlife, stuff like that, if it's within my eyesight, if it's in my vision that I want to see it, I want to take a picture of it, I want to frame an image, then it's 5X. If it's something down the street that I really don't even really care about, then it seems like that's when I would go to the 10X, which is pretty rare. So overall, I'm excited about the S24 Ultra. Link in the description, by the way. It does help the channel. If you click on it and sign up, you save $50. So who doesn't want to do that? But I just wanted to talk a little bit about these camera systems, because now we are going to get that shift. And you're going to see it in all these presentations, I'm telling you. You're going to see it where it used to be about cameras. You used to have the presentations by Ridley Scott and whoever else and all these other to see what these photos can do. Now it's going to be, what can AI do to your photo and add to your photo? And to me, that's when it stops being your photo. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.